be sacred with a Zoom. And so think about how many people have had, like, all we're doing is just like, we're just breaking down resistance to everything. Because it's like, yes, we can make these sacred spaces that we're in. Even if the connection lags, whatever. Even if the audio isn't good, does it matter? Nope. I love you, girl. I'm going to bring Dale on now. All right, my beautiful friends. I'm going to read the bio for Dale and Jeannie Stacy of EarthStar Spiritual Center. And I'm going to spotlight you here, Dale. Let me do that. There you are. Hi.
Aloha, Evangeline,
Aloha.
Priest and Feather. Thank you.
Aloha. Let me read your beautiful bio. Dale and Jeannie Stacy are the interfaith ministers abbots of EarthStar Spiritual Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. They are authors, shamanic energy workers, teachers of mind, body, spirit awareness, connection, modern shamanism, aloha consciousness since 1995. Dale is an Air Force veteran, former police detective, graduate of NC State University. Woo woo. Jeannie is a retired middle school English-French teacher, graduate of East Carolina University. Both of them received a Doctor of Divinity from Esoteric Theological Seminary. Dale's is in Huna Hawaiian Shamanism, and Jeannie's is in Divine Feminine Shamanism. Dale and Jeannie strive to live aloha in every moment together, and this is my soul family right here. So take it away, my dear shaman brother.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to us in this little part of the galaxy. So thank you so much. And we'll share this time and talk about ceremony and ritual. And, even though the time is only 45 minutes Earth 3D time, just let you know that dimensionally, this will probably take 2 hours, but then also dimensionally, it's going to feel like 10 minutes. So let's go right into the slides so we can present some info to you. Let's see. And we are preparing. Okay, there we go. So hope everyone can see that now. So a ceremony and a ritual, especially with aloha. So we want to make sure that everything we do is centered, grounded, and just totally surrounded by aloha with every thought, every word, every action, and mind, body, and spirit. So we want to live as a dimensional being because we're dimensional anyway, right? Right away, we know we're mind, body, and spirit. So of course, and we have a heart, we have a liver, we have an arm, we have a leg, we have different thoughts, we have different feelings. So all these things give us a dimensional aspect of life. So make sure that we create all of our ceremonies, all of our rituals with some type of aloha. Now, for me, aloha just means love. I know a lot of times people will say, oh, does that mean harmony? Does that mean peace and joy? Yes, of course it does. But, love doesn't need another modifier. So aloha to me is love. Love is aloha. Okay. All right, let's go to the first slide. Just to get us into a dimensional framework for the rest of the presentation, these are our core ideals at EarthStar Spiritual Center here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay? So the acronym is Aloha. So the first one, the A, is all loving God. So as we approach this from a dimensional aspect, just think about in 3D. God created everyone, everything, everywhere. God creates everyone, everything, everywhere. And God will create everyone, everything, everywhere. Okay, so that gives us a 3D perspective of God. But now let's up that notch just a little bit into a 4D. So fourth density, fourth dimension is going to be the density of love. So let's say that with God and love, we know that God is in everyone, everything, everywhere. So notice how this would change our perception when we're dealing with someone. Maybe there's someone that we don't particularly like on this present moment. Well, can we really dislike anyone if God is in them? Okay. And then let's take ourselves up to a fifth dimensional, fifth density perspective. And this would be wisdom and light. So God is everyone, everything, everywhere. So that means every single person, every single thing, every single place is God. And most importantly with that is you are God. Okay? And don't think about, well, yeah, maybe I'm a God with a little g. No, you are God with a capital G, capital O, capital D, because we're all one in this grand wholeness of life. Okay? All right, next one is love. So love is the eternal purpose of everyone and everything. And we share this love through our service to others. Okay. All right. And then oneness. We're all one in the greater wholeness of life. Each of us being a unique facet or individual expression of our God. And that is through our abilities, our gifts, our goals, our powers, skills, and talents. Or in other words, our earth superpowers. Or as Evangeline likes to say, our genius. So each of us has a genius that's a unique expression of God. So honor that. And then, of course, H is heart. We walk the path of the heart. We walk the talk, we talk the walk. And again, when we think about this in dimensional terms, on a 3D level, we want to see, hear, and touch love in every moment. Okay? And on a 4D level, the love level, we want to sense, feel, and know love in every moment. Okay? And then on the 5D level, the wisdom and light level, we want to be the love in every moment. So can you imagine going through life and with full awareness of mind, body, and spirit, full awareness of every thought, every word, and every action? It is a very loving exercise that you do. So make sure you understand the heart path. And then as above, so below. Remember that the greater patterns, the macro patterns, are reflected by the micro patterns. And the micro patterns, the smaller patterns, are reflected by the macro patterns. Okay? So just imagine we have a cell and we have an electron rotating around that nucleus, just like as planets, we rotate around the sun. So everything is above and below if you'll just provide that proper context. Okay? And look at the diamond, and you see that the diamond, that is our wholeness. Okay, so everything that has ever existed, currently exists, and will exist, all live within this diamond. This is our diamond of wholeness. This is our life. This is who we are. And all we do is we just simply hop from facet to facet. And sometimes we hop with our soul family to another facet. And remember, we're on the inside of the diamond. We're on the outside of the diamond. We could be at the very tip, could be at the very corners, and we could even be those little shards of light. So we're on, in, and around this diamond for all of life. So this is where we are. So being in this wholeness, then, we can make connections with anyone and everyone at any time. Okay? So know that you have that power to do that. Good. So that'll get us in a dimensional framework. Okay? All right. So what is our synopsis for this time then? Creating aloha field ceremonies and rituals for transformative shifts. Because that's what you do. If you're doing the death doula, if you're being a shaman between the worlds, you're helping people with this transition, this transformation, that's what you're doing. You're creating an aloha field ceremony or ritual. And just to define how I use ceremony and ritual, I like to think of rituals as the little smaller acts that we would do. Let's say we would light some sage, and we would do some smudging for the greater circle. But then the greater ceremony is we're standing in a circle for a greater purpose. So rituals are just the smaller acts. And then the greater act that we put it all together is the ceremony. Right? Outstanding. Okay, our objectives for this time together, this dimensional time. We want to discuss some definitions and to be in dimensional thinking. We want to examine the acrostic shaman, to help you to standardize your ceremonies and rituals. That way, maybe sometimes you may forget that you want to do a mental checklist of going through a particular ceremony you're doing. So if you can use shaman as an acrostic, that'll help you to make sure that you dot do all the dots and cross all the T's, right? That's what we want. And then lastly, we want to identify using Huna 7 steps for effective ceremony and ritual. Okay. So normally this would be an all-day class, but we're going to do everything in 45 minutes. All right, first thing, big question. What is shamanism? Because remember, you are death doula shamanism. You are shamans of transitional ceremonies. That's who you are. So what is shamanism? Very simply, shamanism is the harmony of mind, body, spirit. Okay? So the mind thinks and creates. It establishes some thought, some imagery, imagination. The body takes that energy and it then helps to start forming and creating foundations to explore this image that the conscious mind is given. The subconscious takes over with this body action. And then, of course, the subconscious being so involved, it sends all that wonderful energy up to our spirit, our higher self. And our higher self inspires us. It helps us to create this initial thought. So that's what shamanism is. It's the harmony of mind, body, and spirit. So everybody creates like this. It's just everybody doesn't do this consciously. Okay? So that's what a shaman is. We do a conscious thing. Now, who or what is a shaman? Well, a shaman is anyone who consciously creates and influences a reality with the harmony of mind, body, and spirit. Okay? So whatever the mind decided, the body will start to work towards it. The spirit will help us to create it. But then a shaman consciously does this. Now, why do I say consciously? Because everybody creates. That's one of our gifts as divine beings, right? We're spiritual beings having human experiences. So as a spiritual being, we create our reality. It's just a shaman consciously creates or influences a reality. So that's the big difference. Okay? Now, the goal of being a shaman is to be effective. So regardless of what you do, how you do it, our goal is effectiveness. Okay? So whatever you do, your ceremonies and rituals, make sure it is an effective ceremony. And of course, effective is a very relative word because it's dimensional. So make sure you know it is effective. Okay, outstanding. Now, ceremony and ritual. Just think about this grand ceremony we have here going on the second day, or actually third day. We started Sunday. And actually, it started way before that with the planning. So this big ceremony called Between the Worlds that Evangeline and Teresa and Heather have put together for us. Just think this grand ceremony, it is simply managing the flow of energy for a desired result. So think about ceremony and ritual. You are simply a shaman manager because you're managing the energies that flow from beginning to end, up, down, above, below, within, without, all around. That's what we do. And just think about Between the Worlds, how this entire conference has been managed, right? We have specific spots and time. Evangeline and Teresa are clicking buttons. They're working feverishly behind the scenes, pushing all these buttons to make sure they are able to manage the flow of this grand ceremony called Between the Worlds. So that's simply all we do as shamans. We manage the flow of energy, the desired result. Remember, we've got to have an intention. Anytime we create any type of reality, anytime we're trying to influence a reality, we want an intention. We can't be, when people are, I know when we have classes and I'm doing sessions with folks and they go, well, I'm going to let the universe take care of that. I said, and the universe will take care of that. It will climb the highest mountain, swim across the widest ocean. It will do this for you, but you have to provide an intention. Okay. It's just like the example I give for people. Imagine going into a restaurant and you simply go in when the wait staff comes up. Oh, how can we serve you today? Well, just bring me anything. Yeah, I'm okay with anything. I don't have really anything in mind. Just bring me whatever you got. Well, 15 minutes comes around and here comes the wait staff and they bring the little cart over. They bring you a glass of tap water and some stale crackers. And then now, are you going to get upset at the wait staff because you said, just bring me anything you got? I'm really in just kind of an open mood. Remember, you created that. So your intention, now you may start getting upset because you really wanted a ribeye steak and baked potato and a salad with ranch dressing. But no, all you said was just bring me anything. So make sure we have an intention. And once we have that intention, then we can apply attention. And that attention is managing the flow of the energy. Okay. Now, what is the energy? Well, the energy is aloha. That aloha is always our energy for anything and everything we do. Okay. So managing the flow, that's what we're doing. Okay? Now, let's say you start getting butterflies in the tummy, or you start getting a little upset. Maybe you didn't have a plan, or you didn't have anything written down. You're not sure about how these people will receive it. And all of a sudden you're pulling out hair and you're wondering what you're going to do. Well, just remember the core value here. Whatever you do, you're going to be effective with aloha, and you're simply going to manage the flow of the energy because you know what the intention is that you're going to do. So how do you eat an elephant? If it gets too big, you eat it one bite at a time. And that's what we're doing. We're managing the flow of energy. Now, good. All right, now let's think about your favorite cake to get us into, again, another dimensional sense. If you see in the upper left there, you may be a funfetti cake kind of person, right? You just love those little colors on the inside, just a simple little candle, and that's just fine with you, just very happy, very joyous. Or maybe you're in the center there, in the upper center. You see this aloha cake. You got this rainbow cake. Oh my gosh, yes, a chakra cake. I love this type of spiritual cake. Or maybe you're in the upper right. You're just a good old down to earth, just a basic. Give me a devil's food cake with chocolate icing. That's the way I roll. Okay. Or maybe in the bottom left, maybe you like a little bit of a fruit seasoning with your cake, and you like that beautiful little pink color of the strawberry. And you may just like a box cake. You don't necessarily have to go to a grand baker somewhere and pay $100 for a cake. You're okay for $5.99 with frosting and a cake mix. That's happy, and you make it. Yeah. And then look at the one next to that. Maybe you're just a square pan of brownies. That's who you are. Okay? And that's fine too. Or maybe you're a fruit cake. Maybe you like all those wonderful things in a fruit cake, especially those little green jelly things, right? They're great. Or maybe you're romantic and you love wedding cake. Okay? So all these are dimensional aspects of being who you are. So the point is to recognize who you are. And as Evangeline speaks about in her classes and her podcasts and her offerings she gives to you, she often asks you to think about what is your genius. Okay? My word for that is what is your earth superpower? So what is your earth superpower, or what is your genius? So you decide what that is, and then that way you can be even more effective with all your ceremonies and rituals. Okay? Outstanding. Now I want cake with some coffee. Okay. All right, now dimensional thinking. Several presenters have talked about this throughout the weekend so far. So we've really had time to think about this, but I want to bring you to a 3D perspective here. What is death to you? I mean, this is the business you're in. So what does that really mean from a definition standpoint? I mean, are you only going to be focused on strictly the 3D Webster dictionary definition of what death is? I mean, is it truly just a permanent cessation of all primary and vital functions? The act of not being alive, the act of being, or not the act, but just being dead, right? Is that what you think death is? And if so, then that's going to be how you're going to pattern your ceremonies and rituals for people. Okay? Or maybe you want more of a dimensional outlook. Maybe you want to be more loving. Maybe death is eternal. Maybe there's no such thing as death. That's just a word that we use in 3D. Maybe it's just a transition, a transformation. If you see the bottom right corner there, think about it can be like an elevator. People step into the elevator, the doors close, and there they go. They're off. Hopefully the elevator's going up. I don't know if we'll see those numbers and the elevator goes down. They have to do extra prayer for them. But as the elevator, they go in, and sooner or later, one day you'll see them again when you're on the same floor that they got off. So decide what is death for you, and whether or not you're able to integrate. Is this only going to be a 3D offering, or do I offer a 4D perspective on the eternal nature of life? Or do I offer a fifth density or 5D perspective, or even higher perspective on what death is? That death is really, that's not the word we want to use. It's just merely a passing. It's just a rite of passage. It's a ceremony, a great transitioning, a great elevation, right? So try to use some different words that you can integrate in this type of exercise, this ceremony, this ritual you'll be doing for people. And in the same token, then, what is healing? So how do we define what healing is? And are we aware that death is healing? Death, from our sense, is a healing on the dimensional level. So how do we incorporate these definitive structures we have here into how we want to be a dimensional death doula or shaman doula? Okay? So decide that for you. And that'll be great homework to do in your meditation visualization. Now, again, getting us back to ceremony and ritual. So simply managing the flow of energy for a desired result. Okay. All right, so let's look at our shaman acrostic. Now, I put all these on one sheet just for the sake of time. So we'll go through them one by one. So as you go through this in your mind, and you can have this printed out. And by the way, any of the slides I have, I'm going to provide these to the Between the Worlds administrators. But if not, I'll give you a link later on, and you can email me and I'll send them to you. Matter of fact, I'll send this to you in a JPEG. And if you want to use any of these slides for anything, you have my permission, universal permission to use it for anything, anywhere. Okay? All right. So the first one then, sacred or S for shaman. So that's your sacred space. So we want to bless or clear our sacred space. Now, remember, when we're talking about ceremony and ritual, we have a dichotomy here. Blessing is a feminine concept. Okay? Clearing is a male concept, right? Can you imagine clearing? You're out clearing weeds in your yard, right? That's the male thing. We're out there action oriented, we're clearing, getting rid of things. So there would be certain ways that you would walk, like a counterclockwise circle for clearing, but a clockwise circle, the goddess way circle for a blessing. For instance, if you're doing a house or land blessing, right? But that's a topic for another day too. So just know blessing and clearing, then we'll use them synonymous here. And you do that either with music, you can smudge, call in your spirit guides, use any symbols, any words, right? Anything you can do. And you could either do this before the ceremony, or we could wait and do this while all the participants are there. That way they're able to be part of it. Okay? Remember, the more people are part of something, the more they have ownership, the more they'll take all this in. Okay? All right, and then H is heart. So do we have a heart path? Do we have a heart purpose? What is the reason for the ceremony and ritual? Is it filled with aloha, above, below, within, without, all around? Okay? So make sure we know what that heart purpose is. And that could be something that you would want to share with all the participants. Again, the more you can share with all the folks involved, the more it allows them to take ownership into what the purpose of the ceremony and ritual is. Okay? All right, and then the alpha state, A. So feeling joy and happiness, relaxing, right? This is you feel happy that you have this wonderful skill of being a shaman between two worlds. You have this wonderful skill of being a death doula or a passing doula or a transitional doula, whichever word you like to use. So be in an alpha state, be in this wonderful state of joy and allow that to just fill your space wherever you are. Okay? M is Merkaba or A.L.O.H.A bubble. Okay, so if you have a Merkaba, if you've activated your Merkaba from the heart, as many folks have, ours, we activated ours through the teachings of Drumlow Melchizedek. Currently lives in Sedona right now, so we did that in 2011. So you can use your Merkaba to feel the space you're in. Or if you don't have a Merkaba, we'll create a beautiful Aloha bubble. Okay, imagine an Aloha bubble around you, a rainbow-filled bubble, and imagine all your chakras are colorized, energized. You see the little thing I've got in parentheses, a little acrostic there, or synonym rather. Roy G. Biv, remember we learned that in kindergarten, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So assign these beautiful colors to your chakras and then allow those colors just ooze out of your chakras and fill up your Aloha bubble, fill up the room. And when you do that, remember you want your Aloha bubble to be ceiling to floor and wall to wall. And then if you're outside, tell your Aloha bubble or Merkaba to be a certain space. I want it to be a 30-foot circle. I want it to be a 60-foot circle. Okay, you control the size of your Aloha bubble or Merkaba. All right, A, activate inner rhythm. Okay, so AIR. And this is through your breathing, your chanting, your toning, your prayers. Okay? We want to instill calm, not only within you, but also that calm of aloha so that it flows through everyone that's there with the ceremony and ritual. You see, I've got CH.HC, and that's from our Cherokee teacher, Dr. J.T. Garrett, with the full circle that he did for over 25 years. We used to go twice a year. And that means calm is healing, and healing is calm. Okay, so calm is healing. Healing is calm. Okay? So think about all the pharmaceuticals, all the other things you may want to use to relax you. Could even be 2 or 3 fingers of Jack Daniels, right? I mean, it depends on how bad the day was. All those things are meditation, breathing. They just calm you. Right? And once you're calm, the body now begins to take over. It's in a default mode of clearing and releasing. So tell your body to be in that type of mode. That whenever you're calm, you are healing. And when you're healing, you're in calm. Okay? Now, calm is a relative word, right? I have friends that run a marathon. They're running to Winston-Salem and back. And to them, they say, I am in the zone and I am calm. No, to me, that is not calm. I cannot imagine running to Winston-Salem and back. I have a car. Okay? So you decide what calm is for you. And when you are, just know you're being healed. And then finally, N, the final letter. And that's to be fully present, be fully focused here and now. Okay? Take care of any physical needs you may have before your ritual or ceremony. Make sure you enjoy being here. You're full of aloha. You're full of calm. Be fully present. Remember, you're not thinking about what am I going to do after the ceremony and ritual over. You don't want to be thinking about, well, I'm kind of hungry. I should have eaten something before. Or I'm thirsty. I should have done that. You know, we don't want to be in the middle of a ceremony and you reach over and grab a cheer wine and a pack of nabs. That's not what we do. Okay? Make sure you take care of personal needs first. And then that way, everything can just flow for you. Okay? Because remember, we want to be effective and we want to manage the flow of the energy. So allow Shaman then, I invite you to use that as your acronym to help you to standardize your practice when you're doing these wonderful ceremonies and rituals. Okay, all right, outstanding. All right, now let's go over the 7 principles using the Huna 7 principles of be aware, be free, be focused, be here, be loved, be strong, be effective. All right, so the first one is the world is what you think it is, so be aware. So our world is a mirror of our thoughts, words, and actions, right? Our world is, if you can imagine, Y-O-U, it is our universe. That is our world. Everyone, everything we have created, and we're interacting with this beautiful universe. Okay? So have a strong, clear, definite beginning and end, right? Distinct from ordinary time. I mean, think about how we started Between the Worlds, right? We started, music was playing. We had this beautiful signage, Between the Worlds. I mean, had this beautiful flower of life pattern behind it. So it let us know we are definitely starting this wonderful ceremony for 2 days. So have a clear beginning, ending, usually like an ending. It could be a clap in Hawaii, in Hawaiian ceremonies, Huna, we like to say pow, P-A-U, or clap our hands and shout pow. That means it's over, it's finished. Okay? So we want to make sure we establish those times for people because folks need to know when things are beginning and they want to know when it ends. Okay, good. Thank you. Bust it out 10 times. You're so kind. Okay, so you want to remember you got to have a good time in ceremony and ritual, right? So I can't be boring if we're doing a ceremony and ritual class. I'm going to try to be funny. All right. So impress the conscious mind with understanding and familiarity. Okay, that's what we want to do too. Because remember, we want folks to take ownership of what they have asked you to do. So make sure we do that. So the world is what you think it is. Okay? All right, number 2, there are no limits. So be aware, be free. So be free. There are no limits. Remember, we are eternal beings. We are spiritual beings living a particular human experience for this past few thousand years, right? Or maybe a million years. Maybe you were here with some of the first humans way back before this last 200,000 to 300,000 year cycle. Okay? So there are no limits. Our freedom is eternal, infinite, and unlimited. So remember that when you do your ceremonies, your rituals. Of course, you have to remember we're still in 3D and you still have time factor, and people got to get home and feed the pets and change diapers for the kids. So make sure you try to have some sort of limits and let folks know what that is. But that's just because of 3D. But when we talk about spreading out our dimensional sense, make sure you know there aren't any limits on what you can do within a prescribed time frame. Make the area a sacred space. Make it a circle, a square. Make it a diamond. Make it a heart space. I mean, I love being at the beach and drawing a big heart sand, and people are standing on the outside of that circle. And whenever they want to do some healing, they will simply walk into that heart space that's been outlined in the sand, and people on the outside would be, their hands would be up, and that would be showering them with just an energy flow. Okay? So make a sacred space. And then you want to bless it. So sprinkle holy water, do some chanting, do some praying. Remember, if you do a chant that's not English, make sure you either explain it before or after what that does mean in English, because it doesn't matter. You know, it's like you hear in the olden days in the Catholic Church when they delivered the Mass in Latin. We'll come to find out 99.9% of the people didn't even speak and understand Latin, and yet they still did the services that way. Okay, so make sure that you let people know what you're doing. Same thing with the prayers. Okay? And the sprinkle the holy water, Florida water. Imagine the like, for instance, the mandalas that Evangeline and Heather are making. Imagine if there was a flower that was on top of that, you could dip the flower in some water and you could sprinkle people with that. So make these little ceremonies and these little rituals very, very familiar, and use it with the tools you already have. Okay, so make sure we bless it. Good. All right, good. Number 3, so we got be aware, be free. Now we have be focused. Okay, so energy flows where focus goes, right? And we know exactly how that feels, because you know you're riding down the road, and all of a sudden this beautiful rainbow pops up, or you see some deer on the side of the road. You look over there, and next thing you know, you run off the road, right? Because our focus went somewhere else. So energy flows where focus goes. So make sure our focus is we're doing our ceremony, we're doing our ritual. So if you're holding out something and your arm's getting tired, this would be also like for doing healing work, right? If you've got a body position and your body is starting to feel the pain because that position's not very comfortable, well, guess what? All your healing energy is going to go to you. So make sure you're comfortable in what you're doing, so you can direct all your energy to the people that are involved, to the ceremony, the ritual. Okay? So your attention or focus directs the flow of energy. So establish a clear purpose to the participants, right? Because we want them to be able to focus. You know, just like when you go to a wedding ceremony. Yeah, dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to offer this beautiful wedding ceremony between so-and-so, right? So people know why we're there. Same thing for all your ceremonies and rituals. Make sure people know why we're here. So, because that way you give the ritual, the ceremony, a focus. Right? Outstanding. Okay. Number 4. So we've got be aware, be free, be focused. Now be here. Okay? So now is the moment of power. Your power lives in the present moment. Remember, even if you're thinking about a memory, that memory is happening right now. Okay. So you're always in the now. When you're dreaming of a future trip, you're dreaming about that right now. Okay? So now is the only time. It is the moment of power. This is where we affect change and influence. This is where we heal and calm. This is where we create love in every moment. This is where we enhance the love in every moment. It's the power of now. This very second, this is the best moment of my entire life. Well, a minute later, that will be the best moment of my entire life, all my existences, okay, of all eternity. So now is the moment of power. Okay? So make sure we understand to be in the now, because remember, you're in the now whether you know it or not. So consciously understand you are in the now, and that way you can learn how to effect change in an effective manner, okay, by managing the flow of energy. Okay? Now, use sensory contact to build the energy in the present moment. And we do that when we have people to see something clearly. Right? To hear something clearly. You've got music, you're playing crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, you got chimes, you got flute, you're humming, you're chanting, you're praying. You could have them feel something very clearly. Well, have them hold hands, right? The first night at the kickoff party, we held hands. Left palm was up and right palm was down in a very neutral handshake, right? So hold hands in the circle so people can feel that. Feel each other's palms as you pump the palms, and they can feel that. When we do Huna ceremonies, we will use the Hawaiian sea salt, the A.L.O.H.A, the A.L.O.H.A. You can find that at World Market. It's the red sea salt, so it's food grade. So I'll have them take a pinch of salt out of the bowl and just place it underneath their tongue. Again, now they're tasting something very clearly, helping them to stay in the present, to be in the now. Okay? So again, use your music, your drums, all your aromas, your incense, spray, sage. Now remember, if you're doing your ceremony and ritual now, you can't be lighting up the sage inside of a hospital room. It's got oxygen. You can't be there to do a death doula ceremony for one person, and all of a sudden you light your sage, it creates this flame, you got oxygen, and now in the afterworld you're going to be doing 7 to 10 more death doulas because you just blew up everybody. So make sure wherever you are, read the room, know what the energy is in the room. Okay, be in the now. Don't be so caught up in the service. Remember, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay, so just take some spray or something. Okay, and that way you can use that, and you can make your own scents or just use Florida water. That's great too. Okay, all right, good. Number 5. So now we've got be aware, be free, be focused, be here, and number 5 is to be loved. Okay? So to love is to be happy with someone or something. Some people, they may love their pets more than they do other people. Other people, I mean, they're the reason why they move to the woods, live alone, and they talk to squirrels because they just really can't stand to be around people right now for some reason. So you may be in love with something. That's okay. The object is to be loved, right? Be aloha, someone or something. Because once we're in aloha, we are happy, we're joyful. Right, we're in this joy, and that reflects our aloha love, and it magnetizes all this wonderful love around us, and it sends out and radiates all this love around us. Okay, so make sure love is what we're all about, or aloha. Okay, and then the way we can do that with a ceremony is we keep people happy, we keep them connected by using familiar themes. Right, if you're hopping around on one leg and you're cutting up chickens and you're doing these other things that people aren't familiar with, well, they're going to think they're in the wrong place. So make sure you have your ceremonies and rituals very so that it applies to what they know, what we know as a culture here. Or if not, just take some time to teach them about the particular cultural beliefs or the rites and ceremonies. That's fine too. Just make sure you keep people connected and you keep them involved, again, so they have ownership in your ceremony and ritual. Okay. All right, number 6, all power comes from within. Okay? So our empowerment is in every part of us, our mind, body, and spirit. Okay? Every thought, every word, every action. Remember, you have more power in one cell in your little fingernail that could just simply empower the entire universe, in the multiverse, in the metaverse. Because remember how we talked about earlier, there's one aspect of you that is God. God is in that cell. Every single cell in your body is God. So remember, all this power is within us. And if you could tune in dimensionally, if you could pull in all these waves around, the electronic waves, right? Cell phone waves, cable TV, satellite. I mean, good God, galactic waves, universal waves. If you could, all these things could be colorized, you could see them, you would recognize how powerful all this energy is around you. So that's why if you're trying to cope with all that energy around you, you sometimes find it overwhelming. Well, then focus on creating that aloha bubble. So if you have an aloha bubble around you, that way anything that tries to come in through your aloha bubble, it has to be filtered with love because you have created it with that intention. Okay? Again, that's another day-long class. Anyway, so empower everything. The space you're in, the symbols you use, make sure you, again, explain the symbols to your folks. Okay? All the tools you use. Remember that all these tools and chants and things, that's not what's sacred. What is sacred, each person, each God that you see in front of you, this reflection of God, that you see coming back toward you. That's what is sacred. The love is sacred. So all these tools and chants and everything, especially if you had teachers telling you that, you really don't want to share this with other people who don't know things, or share those things and people can use them the best they can. Okay? Give them the opportunity to do that. So please don't, what we don't want to be is we don't want to be in an energy field where we want to keep things from people, because that creates an inclusiveness or exclusiveness rather, and we want to be inclusive. Okay? So make sure we share everything that we know about that ceremony and ritual. Again, so people can take ownership. Right, and then number 7. So we've got be aware, be free, be focused, be here, be loved, be strong, and now be effective. So effectiveness is the measure of truth. Okay? So whatever is successful for you is your truth. Now, one person's truth is not another person's truth. It's whatever helps you to be effective. That's why 2 people can go on the same diet and one will gain 10 pounds and one loses 10 pounds. Or, when people ask for a recipe, they just over your house and they had a wonderful meal. Could I get the recipe? Yes. And then they call you 2 days later. I followed the recipe to a T. It tastes nothing like yours. Well, that's because you added different portions of aloha into what you're doing. So remember, be effective, and whatever is true for you, stick to that truth. But be very flexible with that. Okay? Be very spontaneous with your format. You don't want to be so rigid in your structure that you don't allow. Somebody may say something or do something. You may have a vision during this ritual and ceremony. In some way, somehow, I've got to interject that and go, well, no, that didn't go with my plan. Well, we have to be open enough, flexible enough to allow those things to come in. Okay. So now, whenever you do things, let's say you've got your abalone shell, you got your sage, you forget about it. You got caught up in the ceremony and you put your hand underneath. Well, it burns your hands. The abalone shell goes down on the ground. Well, don't stop the ceremony. You don't want to start cussing because you dropped this. Okay? Pick it back up, put sage back in it, a little more tobacco in it, light it back up, and continue with the ceremony. So just keep moving. Remember, people will forgive and forget all that stuff in the middle as long as you got a good ending. And a good beginning, and they've had this participation throughout because it's the Aloha field. They will just remember those things. Okay? So just keep moving whatever you do, and remember, our goal as shamans is to be effective. The paradox of shamanism being that there are no rules. Well, that is the rule. There are no rules, and that's the paradox of shamanism. So be very effective in what you do. So again, be aware, be free, be focused, be here, be loved, be strong, be effective. And then use your shaman acrostic to help you to give you a guideline for your ceremonies and rituals. Okay? All right, so let's review what we just did. So review some basic definitions and make sure we understand that we are dimensional. And remember, regardless of whether you think you're dimensional or not, well, you are. You are mind, body, and spirit. Again, like I said, you have a leg, you have an arm, you got a heart, you got hair. All these things are dimensional aspects of who you are. So begin to act. So remember, we want to look dimensional, we want to act dimensional, and we want to be dimensional. Okay? Because that's who we are. We're interdimensional shamans. Okay? Our definition, the big one was, we know what shamanism is. It's the harmony of mind, body, and spirit. We know what a shaman is. A shaman is someone who consciously uses the harmony of mind, body, and spirit to create or influence a reality. Okay? And then remember our acrostic other word for the definitions is, remember, think about what is death and try to look at that from a dimensional sense, because that's going to influence how you do your ceremonies and rituals. And then also think about what is healing and whether or not death is a healing. Okay? Think about the acrostic or the acronym of Shaman to help you to give you some standardization for your ceremonies and rituals, and then try to identify with the 7 Huna steps for effective ceremony and ritual. And that way, when you write out or you plan out your ceremony, try to incorporate most of those into what you're doing so it can be very effective. Remember, we want people to be be comfortable in what they're doing. And I think Evangeline will say that we're going to have a book. I'd like to offer this book to someone, some person today. This is the sixth book, number 6 that we published, and this is the Cosmic Shaman. So that'll be available to you on Amazon. But I'll get your physical address later on from Evangeline, and then I'll send this to you. Okay. Right. Wonderful. And then one more thing, let me give you a blessing way. So you are shamans from tomorrow, working in the now, sensing the aloha, the who, what, when, where, why, and how. I honor you for your mission, and I humbly bow. You're the ones we've been waiting for. Aloha, and 1, 2, 3, pow. Outstanding.
Wow. Oh,
okay. Now we're back.
Those Huna principles, Dale. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, most welcome. Thank you for allowing me to speak for, I know dimensionally it was 2 hours, but I only felt like 10 minutes. Right. Thank you so very much.
You and Jeannie have been so formative in my ability to be flexible as a death doula, to bring that love where love is absent, enhance love where love is present. You're getting all kinds of love in the chat, so I hope you see all the wonderful comments about how much everybody loved your presentation. And you guys, if you want to do death doula work, take those Huna principles, the 7 principles of shamanism that come from Huna. That pretty much covers you. If you just learn to live those, you are a death doula, a shaman, whatever you want to be. Yes, it was rich and concise. I agree, Erica Joy. Everybody loved it. Tracy, Kim, Gail, Liz, Feather. I agree. You're hilarious. And you bring the you bring the joy and the humor. That is really, really important. I mean, look at, Danny being a stand-up comedian. You as a shaman, you bring a lot of entertainment and the lightheartedness too. Even though we're sacred, even though we take all this very reverently, we can laugh too. We can have fun, right?
Yes. Got to have fun. We got to be aloha filled, because that's what remember, that's our eternal purpose, is to be this love. So yeah, we got to be aloha.
I love it. And we have a winner for our, congratulations on your 6th book launch. You just launched on what, November 1st?
Yes, November 1st. So yes, it's the 5th book in the Simply Shaman series, because what I did, with the 4 books on shamanism, folks were asking me what all these ceremonies and rituals were. And, and I would have to look through the pages and tell them. And I thought, okay, let's just do a compilation book that has so I've got like 200 meditations, 200 visualizations, or 100 visualizations, and I think 200 ceremonies and ritual prompts, so that people can go to one place and it's fairly alphabetical. That way you can look it up and you can go right and can use those ceremonies.